this is something that most of us are struggling with, and we don't even know it or realize it or understand why. Growing up too fast can lead to arrested development. AKA the reason why so many people are childish. Because they never got to go through their childhood stages properly. You know what I'm saying? Picture you order something in the mail and you're supposed to build it with step-by-step directions, like a bookshelf or something. You went from step 1 to step 6 to step 15. Your bookshelf is going to look crazy. That's why we're crazy. Because we went from age 2 to age 9 to age 15, like overnight. You know what I'm saying? We never got to go through the ages properly and do the things that a kid is supposed to be doing, especially if you in the hood. But I don't even think it's just something that's regulated to the hood. But I feel like if you was in the hood experiencing or having to like grow up and do a lot of the things that we was doing, that was definitely speeding up your age. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. When we were teens and we were like drinking, smoking, partying, you basically living the same life as like a college freshman or junior, and you you in middle school, you know what I'm saying? You in high school. Even when we think 16 and 17 and 18 is grown, like these ages are actually young as hell. These ages are actually very important to the development stage. What was going on then is affecting you right now. Especially if you're in your early 20s or mid 20s or 30s, you know what I'm saying? A lot of that shit is affecting you now. And you just ain't supposed to be doing that. Even the having sex and stuff like that, even when it's amongst two people the same age and it's consensual, a lot of that is actually crazy. We just have normalized it, you know what I'm saying? And that has messed up our development. Like, you're not going to really understand maybe unless you have kids. And even then, that might not help you understand. But if you could just look at your little brother or look at a child or something, just imagine them smoking cigarettes. Imagine them smoking weed. Imagine them drinking. If that doesn't help you paint the picture, then you probably got a little more work to do, to be honest. But now when I look at my little brother, I can't, like it's disturbing to me because he's actually what a 14-year-old should be. He's still very innocent. He doesn't necessarily play with toys or nothing like that, but he's not against that. He's still very innocent. He's just into games and like going to school and playing with his friends and stuff, as he should be. And I remember being 14, like, you was a loser if you wasn't having sex. And I'm talking about 14. I'm not talking about high school. Even if that type of stuff is happening in high school, that shit is still a little crazy. But I'm talking about middle school. Imagine being uncool because you don't want to have sex when you're 12 or when you're 13. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's insane. But we don't realize it. It's also why a lot of people, you'd be like, oh, you'll see the phrase, people be looking washed up because they've been partying for so long, even though we're young. It's like, yeah, because they've been giving their energy away. They've been giving their energy away to these substances and to these people and to this lifestyle from they were basically a baby. Because a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old is a baby. 19, 20, 21-year-old is still a baby. You know what I'm saying? You're still in the early parts of your development. Your brain ain't even fully growing until you're 25. And you're not even gonna really hit your strides for real until you 40. When you 40, things gonna start making sense for you. And that might sound weird for me to say because I'm not at that age yet, but I'm just saying based on how our development and shit is supposed to go. And if you talk to older people and if you study ancient cultures, you really didn't even hit, like, shit didn't even start clicking, or you weren't even really considered an adult until you were 40. Obviously, people lived a lot longer back then. But yeah, and this is for people who are from the hood. When you're in the hood and especially when you're like a young man, but a lot of women have to go through this too because they gotta protect themselves at such a young age. When you're a young man, you gotta like act tough. A lot of kids never had the opportunity to watch certain cartoons or even play with toys. Like, I stopped playing with toys when I was in second grade. I just felt like I was too big for that, and being tall didn't help. A lot of kids never ever played with toys. They was thugs out the womb, you know what I'm saying? They came out with a bandana and a face tat when out the womb. They never got that opportunity to be a kid. They was just always a thug. They was just always hard. And that's an act, you know what I'm saying? As a 10-year-old, you should be running and playing and doing freeze tag and stuff like that. You should be playing with Pokemon cards and, watching cartoons and laughing and just and being real silly and thinking girls got the cooties and stuff. But instead, it's like we're forced to be a lot growner than we are, and because you have to defend yourself at such a young age, you have to put on this tough bravado, and you can't watch cartoons and stuff because that might make you too vulnerable. So if I'm watching the cartoons, if I'm into the Pokemon and stuff, that might mean like I'm a bitch and somebody might try to rob me. That might mean I'm not cool or whatever. So a lot of people never even got to experience the things that we were supposed to be doing as a child, because they were just too cool for school. They was just too grown. They're doing 30-year-old shit, but they're 12, they're 13. You know what I'm saying? and that has messed up their development. Again, you know, you never got to go through these things properly. You never got to. So what we don't realize as kids, and I used to hear it a lot, I never understood because I didn't go through it yet, that you get plenty of time to do these things. You know what I'm saying? Once you turn 21, 25 or whatever, it's like, oh, okay, now you could go smoke all the weed you want. I mean, I'm not advocating it, but now you could go smoke all the cigarettes, drink all the alcohol. You could go have all the consensual sex that you want. You know what I'm saying? There was honestly no need for you to be doing that at 15 or 16. Not shaming you if it happened, but I'm just saying to kind of point it out, to kind of help you get rid of this arrested development that we have. You know, a lot of people in the hood kind of have that Riley Freeman syndrome. You know, if you ever seen the show The Boondocks, if not, please just watch it to gain an understanding of what I'm saying. He is like, I think 8 or 9 years old, and instead of watching like cartoons and stuff, he's watching BET. Like, instead of doing any kid shit, he's like wearing a bulletproof vest and rolling around with guns. And as silly as that cartoon may seem, it's like I actually grew up with kids like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? When we was in elementary school, they're like robbing the bodega with the big steak knife. You know, by the time we like 13, 12, 14, they already got their first gun. And they already selling crack. And they already like the man of the house in their family, you know. And they already got to take care of things. And they don't got time to be going to summer camp. They don't got time to be going to basketball camp, no matter how good their skills are, because they gotta be the man, even though they're a kid. You know, they never had that opportunity. So now when they become a man, that childish shit is still within them because they never got to go through the stages properly. Or they're just walking around with the unhealed childhood trauma and not really not realizing it because they got to keep on this tough bravado act all the time as a form of protection. You know, I got to be this big tough guy to protect myself from all the dangers of my environment. You know, okay, so another shit from growing up too fast. So let's say you weren't the smoker, drinker, having sex in high school. Let's say you waited for college to do all this. And then let's say you weren't the young like the young little gangster who came out the womb with face tats. You know, being the firstborn is another way you may end up growing up too fast. When your parents may have to be working 2 jobs or just working period, and you left with the kids, and you got to make people dinner, like you the parent, and you got to take care of them and tuck them in and do certain things. Especially, it could be one sibling, but if you have multiple siblings, that only adds on to it because you are in charge of them. You have to care for them. If somebody breaks their leg, it's on your watch. You have this added on responsibility when you should be, you know, doing whatever a 14-year-old does. I can't even say what 14-year-olds are supposed to do because when I was 14, like I said, dudes was walking around with guns and stuff. People was already having sex and drinking. There was already sex, drugs, and alcohol. So I don't even know what 14-year-olds are supposed to be doing, to be honest. But instead of doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, you are taking care of kids. You know what I'm saying? You are doing all these extra responsibilities. You might have to be the one to keep the house in order, basically being an extension of the parent when you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be playing the role of a child, but now you're in a movie casted outside of your role, and that fucks up your energy as well. You know what I'm saying? This could lead to arrested development as well. It's like you're not getting your chance to be a kid because you got to take care of the kid. You know, you got to boss up. You know, a lot of people be having to provide at such a young age to help out bills and stuff like that. You know, even though we do that to make the best of our situation, it's unnatural. You know what I'm saying? It's not something a kid should have to do. And if you had to go through stuff like that, you got to understand that even if you don't think it's affecting you, it is. And you got to do the work so these things don't pop up in your actions. There'll be things that you're doing and you won't be open to doing. That's because of this right here. You know what I'm saying? You might not want kids when you get older because you was the firstborn and all you ever had to do was be like taking care of your siblings and stuff. You might have been like, man, all I ever did was take care of kids. And that might rob you of the experience of having your own. And that's just a mundane example, let alone something way more serious.